Hello folks, right, we're going to talk about the XP Deus. I've had this for 4 years now and I feel that I've got enough experience with it to give some good honest feedback. So if you're thinking of getting this machine or you're just curious to know more about it, I'm going to give you my thoughts, the reasons why I like it, the things that stand out for me. Now I can't cover everything in this video, we'll be here forever. So please do comment below if I gloss over an area that you would like to know more about, or there's something specific that you need to know that isn't covered in the video. As I say, I've had it for 4 years now. I do go detecting a lot. I have an awful lot of hours with this machine, and I wanted to share my thoughts on the XP Deus with you. So let's get stuck in. Okay, now one of the obvious ones that everybody talks about is the design and how light it is. It is a plus point. Now, everybody's different and weight isn't going to matter that much to everybody, but it does to me. I don't have very good elbow joints. I've strained them over the years, and I get fatigue in the arms. Having something this light is an absolute boon for me, and it will be for a lot of other people as well. Not everybody, but I have to say, the sheer lightness of the XP Deus makes it an absolute joy to swing. The folding down part, well, that's up to you really. I mean, yes, it's very, very adaptable. Put it like that in a backpack. The XP Deus is really, it's next to nothing. But then again, you can break a lot of detectors down and they're not that hard to put back together. So you have to decide whether that is a plus point for you. Me personally, I couldn't really care less. If I put a machine in the car fully made up, I put it in fully made up, or I can do that if I want to. But it's handy. It's not a big thing for me, but yeah, for some of you, it probably will be. But it's super light. Also, of course, it's wireless. I've got the WS4 headphones, very, very flexible. I put these on the headphone puck, and I actually add my own headphones. This goes in a top pocket like that when I'm detecting, and then I just have one little wire which I never notice, and I choose all kinds of different headphones for different scenarios, and I've put some time and effort into finding out what I like. My general ones are XP blue back phones, super light and lovely in mild weather, but when it gets a bit windy and I want something that cuts out the wind noise, I've got some over-ear headphones as well. But I absolutely love putting the adapter on that, taking it off the WS4 headband and using it with a selection of headsets. And that flexibility for me is another fantastic plus of the XP Deus. Completely wireless, very, very versatile. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to show you something about the Deus that I think is underrated and often overlooked. Now, when you buy a metal detector, quite often you don't get that many tone choices. You might get certain tone choices, but they can often be limited. And some detectors have absolutely none. You get a target tone, and that is what the detector comes with. What I love about the Deus is just how customizable this is to your ears. Now I'm going to show you what I mean. So I've got it in GMaxx Power, which is a great all-rounder, straight out the box, great all-round searching program, and I'm going to let you hear the 3 tones. Oh, nearly forgot. Take your watch off first. How many times have I done that in the field? When I'm trying to find a target on waving mud and I've got my watch on. So there's your iron tone. Now you don't have to have that, of course. You can choose to eliminate it if you want, and there is a preset program where it doesn't come on. We'll talk more about the programs in another part of the video. Here's a cut half hammered coin. And here's a bigger Anglo-Saxon brooch. So there's your 3 conductivity levels in 3 tones. Now you might like that just as it comes out of the box, but You might actually prefer it if everything sounded like that. Well, you don't have to worry. You might even want it higher. You can go into the tones with the Deus and you can make it sound a pitch that suits your ears. So let's just go into the 3 tones. In fact, let's do something else. Let's go into the 2 tones, because if you want them all to sound the same, you can, of course, just scroll to 2 tones. Now, that's another great thing about the Deus as well when it comes to setting it up the way you like it. You've got 2 tones, 3 tones, 4 tones, 5 tones, and a thing called full tones, which kind of is a sliding scale. So there is an endless choice. And there's pitch. Let me just quickly show you what this sounds like, because a lot of people like to hunt in ones that sound like this. Now that's an intensity one. Oh, and don't judge the depth. It's on 60% sensitivity because I'm in the house. A lot of people really like that. On some machines it's called all metal mode. But I want to show you now in the digital beeps. If I put this in 2 tones, now all my targets are going to sound the same. Obviously not my iron, because it's 2 tones. I've got the iron tone. But it's a single target tone now. Now you might like 2 tones, iron tone and 1 target tone. But now you see that might be a little bit too low for you. With the Deus, it doesn't matter. Because if I hit expert again, I can actually scroll to the target tone level and I can up it and down it to suit my ears. I absolutely love this about the Deus. So let's see what happens, shall we? Up a bit. Up a bit more. Bit more. Let's go up further. Now that's really going to get picked up in the field. You can make every single good target stand out like that. That's on 800 now. But actually you might not like that. You might want one single sound, but you might like a lower tone. Your ears might prefer a lower tone. So absolutely no problem. I'm going to bring it all the way down now. If it suits you, let's put it in 300. Actually, let's put it on 400. That's pretty low. If it suits you, have it like that. You can have it anywhere in the range. You can do that with 3 tones as well. So what you could do, if you like a low tone, you could put your mid conductor there and then switch to your high conductor tone, your 3rd tone, and just put it up slightly. If you still wanted to have the 2 but you didn't want any too high. So you can really play around with this to suit your ears. And it is one of the things I love about the Deus. The tone choices are fantastic. You've also got sub-menus in the audio. So you've got a choice. If you want deep targets and small targets to sound softer, you can have it that way. But if you're a little bit hard of hearing, or you're somebody who likes all your targets to be a bit punchier and to really stand out, you can change the audio response so that deeper, smaller targets sound the same as larger, shallower coins and things like that. So you can really play around and get this to suit the way you want to detect. Not all detectors give you that, and it is one of the great features, and it is, for me, one of the great plus points. I can set this up to sound the way I want it to sound to make sure I don't miss anything in the field. And that is important. A lot of people struggle on with machines that they don't really like the tones. There's other things they like about them. You don't worry about it with the Deus. Play around with them and you can set the pitches to suit your ears. For me, that is a really good plus point. Okay, let's talk about programs. This is important because there's something that people who are considering this machine need to know. If you go on the forums and you talk about it, you will see lots of comments about people's custom programs. Now, the way it's said in a lot of these forums, it gives the impression that you have to know custom programs to actually find anything with the Deus. Utter rubbish. XP knew what they were doing when they made the XP Deus. They didn't just throw it together and say, well, do you know what, the detectorists will have to work out how to change everything to make it fine stuff. No, they sat down and they came up with programs for you to use. And you've got lots of great ones without touching a thing. So the first one is basic one. You don't hear the iron. Very easy, old school, single tone, off you go. Don't hear the iron, peace and quiet, easy life detecting. It can give you that. GMP, the one we played around with the tones. 3 tones, you hear the iron, lots of information, 2 tones, mid conductors and high conductors. That is on a thing called reactivity 2, which means it does move quite quickly in amongst the iron, and it also gives you pretty decent depth as well. It's a great all-rounder. I use it a lot. The one thing I do change in it though is the tones, because I like full tones. And as we saw already, it's easy to tune the machine the way you like. So I use GMP all-round searching on most of my new fields. The only thing I do is I flick it into full tones and then I just go detecting and see what comes up. So you've got a great all-rounder straight off the bat. You go up one more, you've got a faster program. It's not as deep, but it's super fast around the iron. Then you've got a couple of programs like pitch, which allows you to hear that pitch, that intensity tone. That's a good program. A lot of people love that. Then you've got 2 programs that are quite deep. You've got GMaxx and one called Deep. So if you want deeper programs, you've got 2 to play around with. Then you've got 2 for the beach, a wet beach and a dry beach. And I find the Deus pretty good on the wet beach. It's not an out and out beach detector, but it's performed really well for me. That's all I can say on the beach side of it. And then you've got the hot program. The hot program is a super fast customized version of the fast program, and it's one that I absolutely love around the iron, but you have got to like full tones really to like that, although of course again you can change the tones. Hot is a slightly more dynamic version of the fast program. So already that sounds a bit complicated, doesn't it? Or at least it will for some of you, but it isn't. You just trust them. If you want an easy life, put it in 1. If you want a good all-round searcher with some feedback, put it in 2. If you want to go fast around the iron, put it in 3. If it's a quiet field and you want to go deeper, put it in GMaxx or Deep and play around with it in that. You've got Goldfield as well, but that's a little bit more specialised. But the point I'm making is, don't be scared. Don't think that you have to read a manual 15 times and then speak to 10 people in secret meetings to find out the unlocking, the enigma code of how to use the Deus. You don't. It's very, very good straight out the box. The only thing that I would say that you should learn off the bat, if you don't like the tones it comes with, is the tone changing. And that's pretty easy. So that's just about suiting your own ears. But do you know what? Most people are probably going to find that they don't mind the tones on the Deus just the way they come anyway. So slight tweaking will just be real slight preferences. But yeah, absolutely great choices to go detecting without having to fiddle about with it. Don't think you have to fiddle about with the Deus. XP knew what they were doing when they made it. In time, you can have a look at things, you can change things, but do it when you know what they do and when you understand why you're doing it. For goodness sake, don't let somebody get hold of your nice new Deus, put 3 custom programs in and say, don't worry, just use those. You haven't got a clue how they've set it up, and it might not suit where you're going. It's best to learn it yourself and stick with the presets, and the presets are very, very good, and there's plenty of them. That is another plus about the Deus. Okay, it wouldn't be right if we didn't look at the other side of the Deus. I'm not going to labour the point though, because as I said before, I don't want to scare people into thinking they need to know loads of stuff. But it's there as and when you may or may not want it. Different frequencies, change the reactivity. Another thing called the silencer that makes a slight difference as well. Obviously, discrimination, sensitivity. You've got notch like you have on a lot of other machines. You've got lots of expert layers. You can shift the frequency slightly to try and get away from things that might be interfering. I found it very, very good around power lines, better than a lot of other detectors that I've tried. Yeah, it's very versatile. There is a myriad of stuff in here that you can play with. And don't forget, the new machines come with a superior headset. You don't have to have one of these to have a good Deus. I started without a remote. The headset, just listening, is a very, very good way to use the Deus. I know one person who sets it up and then puts this in his pocket, and he doesn't let that put him off. If it ain't an iron tone, he investigates. That's not a bad tip either. Yeah, better coils now, better headsets, even more improved than when I bought it. This is old school compared to the ones you can get now, old school coil. So it's got even more about it. There is a load you can do with it if that's what you want. It's packed with features, and some people absolutely love that. The choice on that one, of course, is yours. You don't need them. It's great if you don't want to play too much. Trust me, it is. But it's there. Loads of stuff if you're one of those people who really likes to have plenty of expert settings to muck around with. But the choice is yours. Okay, let's summarise and finish up, shall we? Do you need a machine like the Deus to go detecting? No, you don't. Do you need a high-end detector? Do you need to spend a lot of money? No, absolutely not. There's some cracking machines out there now, £300 or £400. I've used some of them, and I've had some really, really good days with them. But I would be lying if I didn't recommend it. And I'm recommending it on 4 years of use and loving the performance and the design combined. There are other good machines out there, and there are other high-end detectors. I would never say the Deus is the best because I don't know that. I can only go on what I know, and that is I'm one happy customer and I'm one very happy Deus user. So that's why I wanted to share this. I have put the time in. I do find it an excellent metal detector. I do love using it. So that's just my thoughts after 4 years. I just think that the design and the performance are superb. Other machines are available, and at the end of the day, the choice is yours. But there you go. I've shown you a few things today. We've talked about it. If you want to know more, comment below. I am really happy to answer comments. Comment below if you want to know more. If something's specific to you, ask me the question. I'll do my very best to answer it. Okay, folks, until the next time, good luck, happy hunting, and we'll see you soon.